Okay, welcome to the second part of the Chapter 7 lecture. I'm going to share the PowerPoint. Okay, so now what we're going to do is this won't take very long. Got to get up. So we're going to talk about how enterprise resource planning or these enterprise systems help improve internal business processes. And then we're going to finish up by talking a little bit about what some of the keys to success are for implementation of these enterprise resource systems. And then we'll talk a little bit about the Excel assignment that was assigned for this week that will be due the first week of April when we meet on Monday, the 6th, I think. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. Yeah, 6th. Okay, so these enterprise resource systems tend to have different components to it. You don't have to buy them all. Someone like SAP or Oracle or Microsoft will want you to buy them all, but you don't have to. And they tend to perform 5 different functions. There's sort of core components around financial management, operations management, and human resource management. And then there's more of the extended components which have to do with the company working with its supply chain, and also all the sales and marketing activities that a company has to do to market to its own customers. So there's a supply chain piece and a customer relationship management piece. I sort of like how they have the core components on the left because this has to do with the operation of the business, and the extended components on the right, which is the business dealing with its supply chain and also with its customer base. Now, there are different vendors. You don't have to buy them all from the same vendor. For instance, PeopleSoft is sort of world-class in HR. SAP is world-class in financial management. Some companies will buy these different components from different vendors, or you can buy them all from the same one. One of the benefits of having an enterprise system is that it allows companies to better comply with the regulations that are out there. There are regulations as to how companies financially run their business. Obviously, there's generally accepted accounting principles, and that would be integrated into the financial system. Sarbanes-Oxley, which became law after the Enron scandal about 10 or 15 years back. But what they do is these enterprise systems mirror organizational processes and it forces companies to be compliant with a bunch of external regulations, which is one of the major benefits. Okay, if you go to page 24, what's really key for an ERP installation is that it really be planned for and configured in the right way. There's a lot of work that has to be done. You need to make sure you have a relational database strategy, you have a data architecture, and that every step along the way is aligned with how the operation runs. Some of the limitations of ERP, though, is that they often require organizations to change their business processes. An organization's business process may not align with what it should be doing in terms of compliance, et cetera. And a lot of times these ERP implementations make companies fundamentally reassess how they operate, and there's a lot of opposition to that. Once a company is locked in and you're using an SAP system or a PeopleSoft system or a Microsoft system, it's really based on the processes that are in that piece of software, not so much the processes that existed. So if you want to really mirror that packaged software with how the corporation does things, there's a lot of modifications, and that can be very costly. Okay, so last, what do you need to do to have a successful implementation? Well, first, it's really critical that you have executive sponsorship. If the executives are not on board and all aligned and supportive, and not just the C-suite, but all of the functional executives as well, the implementation is going to be a failure. It's almost impossible to implement these without help from outside experts. So companies like IBM, Accenture, Ernst & Young, they'll have ERP or enterprise system consulting services. If you're a company like Amazon or a company like Nike and you're doing an enterprise system implementation, and maybe the first time that you've done it, but these outside experts maybe have done it hundreds of times. So it's a huge consulting business. It's a huge consulting opportunity, and it's really critical that you get the best expertise to help you. A lot of times when systems are implemented, training is not there. So for instance, when we all switched over to having to do Zoom meetings, a lot of professors needed some training on how to use Zoom and how to record videos, etc. I have to say, up to this point, the Iona training has been very good, but a lot of times the training is not allocated within the budget, and there's an enterprise system implementation, and the training doesn't happen, and the implementation is very it's not as good as it should be or could be if there was better training. You have to really bring together multidisciplinary teams. These enterprise systems bring all of the disciplines together in a very integrated way. So you have to, it's not just an IT implementation. The head of marketing, the head of sales, the head of operations, the head of accounting, they all need to feel ownership, and they all need to be working towards the same goal. And probably last but least is you want to evolve the implementation so that you do it in controllable chunks. If you try to do everything at once, it can be overwhelming, and a lot of people will push back. So what you want to do is you really want to evolve the implementation over time. Okay, so now I just want to share with you briefly what I have asked you all to do with the Chapter 3 chart exercise, which is in the course content folder for Chapter 7. So in the Excel book, we're going to be doing the chart exercise, which is Chapter 3. And it's going to be another exercise like we did before spring break, having to do with chart creation. So you're going to learn how to select a data source, choose a chart type, add, edit, and format chart elements, apply chart styles and colors, modify the data source, and create and customize sparklines. These sparklines I think you're going to find very interesting. And this is something when you create Excel spreadsheets, for instance, you're going to probably start thinking about incorporating things like chart lines within it. So this week, Chapter 3, it's all on Blackboard. If any of you have any questions, use our GroupMe, send me a direct message, and I'll set up a one-on-one Zoom, and we can work through it. So without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye, and I'll see you on the 6th for another live lecture. And I'm sure I'll be ending up recording that one next week as well. So all of you have a good rest of the week, and I'll see you Monday.